Hello there once again. Um, Tonight I'm going to talk about an armed robbery that happened 41 years ago, December 13th, 1982, uh, when I was 16 years old. Uh, so I was in a group home at the time, and I was already on bail for an armed robbery to begin with. So I was in this group home, and I'd been drinking alcohol prior to that for a couple of days, and so uh, while I was in the group home, I was also swallowing Valiums that I bought at my high school, Alexander Mackenzie here in Sarnia. But the group home was a lot smaller than the building it is now. The building today is, I guess, is a drug and alcohol treatment program kind of a place. It's located on Exmouth Street here in Sarnia, just east of Norm Perry Park. But this was a boys' home for troubled boys, and I was in this boys' home already for an armed robbery that happened also the same year. But to make a long story short, I got charged with armed robbery three times in 1982, and once when I was a juvenile, just as I was about to turn 16. I was charged as a juvenile when I was 15 and under the Juvenile Delinquent Act. And the second armed robbery happened just after I turned 16, and it was a corner store. So December 13th, 1982, I was in the group home, and I was told that I couldn't come out of my room because I was overheard on the telephone telling some of my family members at home that I was going to escape from the group home and run away and come back to the reserve here. And so that's pretty much what I did. I waited till the staff were downstairs and they were quiet, and I knew they were watching for me. They didn't want me to come out of my room because I was under the influence of the Valiums, and they were quite concerned that I was going to go out and drink. And so I was already on bail for an armed robbery to begin with. So uh, they didn't want me to go out. Basically, they were ready to physically restrain me. So that's why I didn't do anything. But I was still conscious of. I was still getting very intoxicated. So I ended up. I knew I couldn't grab a winter coat because the winter coats and my shoes or my boots were downstairs. So I had an extra pair of running shoes, and I put on two pairs of two dress shirts, and I put those on. And once I saw that the coast was clear, I looked at the fire escape, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be open or locked. There was a fire escape there at the time, and the door faced the north. And so I would run down the fire escape, and then to head to town, which is what my intentions were. I would head down to the mall there, and the shopping mall. At the time, it was called the Sarnia Eaton Center. It was a brand new mall, but I also had a bottle of brandy stashed in some bushes, and during my escape, I planned on grabbing the brandy and heading somewhere and drinking it. It was just a small Mickey of brandy. It wasn't nothing large or anything like that. So the the Valiums, I only had two of them, but I was pretty intoxicated off them. I was only like 16 years old, so my tolerance for these pills were not very good. I was kind of intoxicated to begin with. That's which is why the staff were onto me, and they were stopping me from escaping. But I waited for the coast to clear. It was probably about 6:37 at night. In the evening, I just got off the high school bus maybe about 2 or 3 hours before that, and I headed up well, I went to the door and I knew I was going to hit down to the reserve, and that was my plan. My plan was to stop, grab the brandy, drink it on the way to the mall, and then run away to the reserve and hide out. And so I knew I was making a big mistake because I was breaching my bail. But I ran. I made a run for it. I knew the staff weren't there. I didn't see them sitting on the stairs. There was a stairs that head down to the living room that led down to the living room where I could see, and I could see there was nobody there. So I took off running down the fire escape and grabbed the brandy bottle as according to plan and started drinking it on the way to the mall, which was a 20-minute walk downtown Sarnia. While I was there, I stopped and talked to a couple friends. One of the friends was an old public school friend of mine, and named Vince. So I asked Vince if he wanted to have a couple shots of brandy, and he was a lot younger. He was probably only about 13 at the time. He was still a young guy, and so he helped me drink some of this brandy, and we were drinking out of a pop cup, and where I bought the food. So back in 1982, there was no cameras, and you could get away with a lot of stuff, which is why there were a lot of armed robberies in Sarnia at the time. So I ended up drinking some of this brandy, and I down to the reserve was probably a 45-minute walk, maybe half an hour, 45-minute walk, and I started getting drunk on the way there, and so I left Vince in the mall. His mom came and came and sat with him in the food court, and she knew that I was drinking, so she didn't really want us hanging around together. So I ended up walking towards Sarnia, towards Amjadam, my reserve, and but on the way there, I started getting brave, and I decided I was going to do an armed robbery and use the brandy bottle. So I finished what I had in the bottle, and just as I came up to the store, which was 15 minutes from the mall, south of the mall, I looked in a window. Like, it's a dark corner, Divine Street and Vital Street, and the store was a corner store. So I looked in the window, and there was only. But before that, I'm sorry I'm just getting ahead of myself here. I finished the bottle of brandy, but I didn't throw it away. I broke it, smashed it, and I carried it, and I and I looked in the window of the store, and I saw that there was only a woman working there. So I didn't want to hurt her. All I wanted to do was just scare her enough to give me the money. So I walked into the store. I just like I'm holding this feather today, I held the bottle in my hand like that, and I said, "Okay, let's have it all." And she started pulling money out of the cash register, and but she wasn't doing it fast enough. So I came behind the counter where she was, and I pushed her out of the way, and I started grabbing the money out and putting it in my pockets and wherever I could put them, wherever I can put like back then there was no such thing as loonies and toonies. We used dollar bills, so there was a lot of $2 bills, $1 bills, and $5 bills, and I ended up getting $110. They said it was like $110 or $111. I lost one of the dollar bills somewhere, and so it was $110 that they recovered off of me. But as soon as I filled my pockets up with the money, I didn't say anything. I just came back around the corner, around the counter, I mean, and then went back out the front door of the variety store, and I gave the bottle a good fling, and I could hear it smash somewhere on the street, and I took off running, and it was dark, and I was running through behind a bunch of. I was panicking. I was just freaking out, and I was panicking, and I ran behind a bunch of houses, and like I didn't know where else to run. The police station was pretty close by, and I already knew that I really made a big dumb mistake. So I figured maybe I'll try to stay behind one of these houses all night if I can. But I went out and out into the street. The street was called Queen Street. It's called Queen Street. So I looked out and I saw a police car with no lights on, and I didn't know if they saw me, but they did, and I was coming out. I wasn't sure where I was going, but I was coming out from behind one of the houses, and then I saw the cop car, and I ducked back and I took off, and I started to panic. I took off one of the shirts, and then I took the money and I stashed that under a bunch of leaves. There was some snow on the ground, not very much, but just a little bit. Uh, and then I saw a doghouse, and then so I went running into the doghouse and crouched into the doghouse like that, and I was kind of like laying in the doghouse and just hiding. I could see flashlights, and it was very dark. It was just completely dark, but I could see flashlights, and uh, I could see them coming, and I could hear the walkie talkies. I could hear them talking. I could hear myself being described over the radios, and um, so I was laying on my side like this, and I thought by closing my eyes, maybe they won't see me, or I hope that they would. But I was caught within 10 minutes. They after robbing the store, so it only took about 10 minutes to catch me. 10 or 15 minutes, give or take. And I was ended up. Uh, I was laying in the doghouse like that, and with my eyes closed, and then I saw my eyelids. I saw the shine on my eyelids, and my eyelids went red. And I opened my eyes, and there was the bright flash of the police light, and then I heard, "You there? Come on out!" And then that's pretty much what I remember happening next. And then I didn't put up a struggle. I just allowed myself to be arrested, and I was in the back of the police car, and I could hear my description on the radio. Young male Indian, they said, young male Indian, approximately 15 to 16 years of age, wearing a checkered shirt, uh, was armed with a broken glass bottle, and last seen heading towards Queen Street. And so this was coming over the radio, and I knew they were talking about me. While I was at the police station, I confessed to the armed robbery, and I ended up getting off lucky. First of all, I didn't get back out of jail. They didn't let me out on bail. The second this for this armed robbery, I ended up staying in jail for a few months, and I was sentenced in total to 14 months in jail and 18 months probation and banned from firearms for 5 years. And that was for the first store robbery and the one on December 13th. So I got off lucky for two armed robberies at the age of 16. My first offense. Uh, Drunk out of my mind during both offenses. And so uh, I I talk about my crimes because it helps me in my recovery today from alcoholism. And thank you very much for joining me, and have a good night.